Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and you are breathing. Today is Friday, November the 4th, 2022. My name is Stephen Carnegie, and welcome to This Is Just a Thought. Today's word of the day, rapscallion, which means a mischievous troublemaker. Rapscallion. Hope everyone's enjoying their Friday. The end of the work week is here. Finally. Man. Well, for most. I have to work this weekend. I just do. But still, at least the work week is done for some of you. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Temperature here in North Carolina, man, unseasonably 80 degrees. Multiple days. Started a little bit yesterday with temperatures in the high 70s. Today is supposed to be 80. Weekend is 80s, and it's supposed to roll on through until Tuesday, those midterms. Sun is coming out now, but man, earlier this morning there was a lot of fog and clouds. Dismal. The end of work week. So, hey, at least we're having some warm temperatures. Unseasonable, but this is the South. This is the fall in the South. This is what we know. This is what we know. Just is. All right, so let's move along here to some Thursday night football. Man, the Eagles, they continue to roll. They continue to win. Jalen Hurts and company. The Eagles defeated the Houston Texans 29-17. Hey, I think maybe, are they the only undefeated team in the NFL? They're 8-0. I think they are. I do. There may be one other. I can't remember right off the top of my head. I guess I should have looked before I spoke, but hey. It is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. But the Eagles are 8-0. Jalen Hurts shows that he is indeed that, maybe, quite possibly, that premier quarterback in the NFL. He deserves to be here. He's putting in the work. He just is. He just is. All right. Looks like Brooklyn Nets star player Kyrie Irving finds himself in the hot seat. Uh-oh. Kyrie Irving has been suspended for 5 games without pay after he sent out a tweet that was deemed anti-Semitic. It was based off a book and a movie. Actually, the book is Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. Now, many are saying that book and that movie is anti-Semitic. And after Kyrie gave a number of interviews, and he refused to denounce his tweet. He just did. He said, hey, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. And when a reporter asked him and kept hounding, he said, hey, what did I just say? Wow. So he has a 5-game suspension without pay, and he has, since the suspension came out and, of course, apologized and said, the normal. I realize how offensive my tweet was and my statements. And, well, I mean, I personally, before I get into it, the Brooklyn Nets came out with a statement, and they said, based off of his comments and his reluctance to apologize, pretty much is what they're saying. They're saying at the moment, he is currently unfit to be associated with the Brooklyn Nets. Almost called New Jersey Nets. This old school thing. It just is. They were at one point the New Jersey Nets, but yeah, they're saying he's unfit to be associated with the Brooklyn Nets because of his reluctance to. I think it all came from his reluctance to denounce that tweet and that book and that movie, and then him sitting there and saying, he's not. It is what it is. He stands behind what he says, but he's come out. Yeah, I'm outside, and of course, as soon as I start talking, they start rambling. He's come out, and he has backtracked a little bit. He says, hey, pretty much I made a mistake. I just did. Now, this book, Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America, I haven't read it myself personally, or have I seen the movie, so I can't jump on that and denounce him for what he has said or was saying. But I have read several articles, and one of the things in one of the articles that I read that this might be the reason why they're saying it's anti-Semitic, because one of the articles said that inside that book there's mention of the Jews owning slave ships. Maybe that's where the anti-Semitism comes from, because the Jews must be saying, hey, we didn't own any slave ships. maybe not. Like I said, I haven't read the book, so I can't denounce them. I can't bash them. I just haven't read the book, so I wouldn't know. But I am going to read that book. I'm going to find it and read it. But my thing with that, if in fact, and it's just like I said before with the Kanye thing, we oftentimes we take these moments in history that are so horrible, so horrific, and we try to compare and contrast. And when I say compare and contrast as it relates to this and black Americans, is of course we know the Holocaust and slavery. We oftentimes say one thing or one moment in history was more severe and horrible than the other. Well, they both were horrible, and they just were. So if indeed, in fact, and if I could say this, if this makes sense, but I would ask you to at least just sit and think for a moment, if in fact the Jews did own slave ships, didn't everybody have a hand in the slave trade? Whether it be owning slave ships or owning slaves or selling those Africans into slaves, because we know that that many African kings and queens in the motherland, they were selling black folks into slavery or Africans into slavery. I don't see anybody going back trying to denounce that. And that's both sides, black and white. I don't see anybody going back and going to these African lands or the descendants of these kings and queens and bashing them or trying to pull their business interests out of there. Just don't. So it seems, at the bare minimum, if this makes sense, that people are just trying to, we choose what we want to choose, whether we like it or not. We choose to agree with it or we choose not to agree with it, rather than just stand on the side of history, because this is history. This we all too well know, that many people had their hands in that slave trade. Whether, like I said, whether it be selling or owning the slave ships or the goods or commodities that came out of slavery, whatever the case may be, everyone had their hand in it. And if in this book it says that the Jews owned slave ships, hey, that was that moment in time in history. It just was. It wasn't confined to one race. Everybody had their hand in slavery. Just did. But boy, for Kyrie Irving, man, he's not one that's not immune to controversy, because we all know his refusal to take that vaccination, that put him out there too. And now this, say 5-game suspension with no pay. Wow. It is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. All right, let's move along here. Also, man, hey, the Los Angeles Lakers, they have won 2 games in a row. How about that? They beat the Pelicans, I want to say Tuesday or Wednesday night, 120 to 117. They won 2 games, and the Lakers faithful are saying, hey, one more and we're on a streak. Hey, I'm a diehard Lakers fan. I just am. Good to see them winning, I guess. Maybe they could continue. Who knows? Who knows? Lakers, wow. Like I said, it's good to see them winning. I hope they can pull themselves together, because this is what I've seen thus far this season. This ain't the Los Angeles Lakers that I know and I love, that I back. It just ain't. It just ain't. All right, let's move along here. Also, hey, looks like Dictator Kimmy of North Korea is back on his nonsense again, or back. Oh, it's a continuation. He's not back on his nonsense. This is just what he does. Looks like after days of provocation of flying his jets and shooting off missiles near South Korea, it has forced South Korea to respond after seeing about 180 North Korean military jets flying close to its airspace and waterways. Now, it was believed that they were conducting ballistic missile tests that they're saying was a failure somehow, some way. But that's not the only thing, because it's also believed that during these ballistic missile tests and other close run-ins, that quite possibly North Korea could be trying to see how far they can go with the nukes. Now, this belief has spurred the U.S. and South Korea to come out in solidarity and denounce North Korea. So much so, the United States Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, said, hey, if North Korea uses nuclear weapons, that will be the end of Kim Jong-un's regime. They're saying that's it for him. If he pops off one of those nukes, that's it. He's done. Wow. Boy, him and Putin. Of course, we all know Putin's still doing his thing, that Russia-Ukraine war. We all know also that several weeks ago, a week or so ago, he came out and he said, hey, Ukraine is threatening or quite possibly could be getting ready to set off a dirty nuclear bomb. And of course, Ukraine fired back and said, no, that's not true. That's not us. That's Putin. Putin and old Kimmy. Boy, those two, certainly some uneasy and unsettling times in this world. Just is. And now you got the U.S. putting their 2 cents in it. Because what happened is they're saying that Kim Jong was doing this because the U.S. and South Korea were holding joint military exercises, which is what they do all the time, too often. So he decided to put some jets in the air and let off some missiles to let them know, hey, I'm still here. Boy, you gotta love them. You gotta love them. But we'll see what happens with that. Because, the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, came out and said, hey, you pop off one of those nukes, that's it for you, buddy. It's a wrap. We'll see. Just like I said about Putin, and now I'm saying about old Kimmy, I don't think he cares what the U.S. says. Don't think he cares about the U.S. threats. Hey, these two, this is just what they do. It is. All right, let's move along here also. Hey, I'm going to take it to some local news here in Durham, North Carolina. Operation Washout. Now, in a week-long, 10 days, law enforcement, I guess you would call it crackdown or sting operation, of what they're saying of the city of Durham's most violent offenders. These were the ones that had the outstanding warrants for violent crimes and offenses. A total of 59 people were arrested. And this operation took place between September the 19th through September the 30th. And it was held and conducted by several law enforcement agencies. You had the Durham Police Department, the Durham Sheriff's Department, the U.S. Marshals, the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, and other agencies. Now, the U.S. Marshals funded the operation, by the way. Now, this is one of those federal things we all know. The feds, they put up the money and the resources and they lend a hand, because the chief of police said, hey, had it not been for the help of the United States Marshals due to our staffing issues, we quite possibly would not have been able to do this. So the U.S. Marshal come in, set up an operation, and other law enforcement agencies join in also. Wow. Now, they made 7 arrests for homicides. 7 gang members were arrested also. And there were 9 firearms that were taken off the streets. And over $206,000 worth of drugs were seized during this operation. Kudos for the Durham Police Department, Durham Sheriff's Department, U.S. Marshals, and North Carolina State Highway Patrol. Kudos. Good job. But how convenient. This is the midterm next week. Yeah, we got some local issues and we got some local politicians on the ballot also for this upcoming midterm. So this is certainly a feather in their cap. They can say, hey, we're tough on crime. At one point in time, the majority of you were defunding the police, or voting to defund the police. Now all of a sudden you're saying you're tough on crime right around the time for a midterm. How convenient. Just is. But if I could, I don't mean to sound as though I'm bashing these elected officials and the police, because they certainly needed to do something. If you're from this area or you've heard of this area, just like everywhere else in this country, crime is top. It's top. It just is, and this is going on throughout the city. It's not confined to one area or whatever or what have you. We do have a large gang problem here in this here in this city. We even have a large just crime in general. We just do. But these type of operations, I don't know if many of you know, but I know they're usually conducted at the beginning of the year, and then they do it at the end of the year or near the end of the year, which is what they've done here. But this time around, or this go around, for them to do it now, right around time for the midterms, kind of makes you wonder, makes you question some things, because all I can say is how convenient. I understand they're saying that these were the 59 violent offenders. They had outstanding warrants, and the chief of police came out and said that the streets of Durham after this operation is notably safer. I don't know how much safer it is because you got 59 offenders, violent offenders off the street. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe they know something I don't know. Maybe these were the top-notch 59 that was stirring up all the trouble here in the Bull City. Maybe. I don't know. How convenient, though. I mean, election's right around the corner. Just is. Feather in your cap. That makes it look like you're doing something. When you spent the majority of 2 years ago screaming and hollering, going side by side and saying defund the police. And now you're saying due to that push back then 2 years ago, the defunding, and a lot of police officers here in Durham, North Carolina saying, nope, I'll go elsewhere and get a higher pay and safer. Now you're saying you need the police and you're glad for all the help you can get from law enforcement agencies. I'm always stepping out on this proverbial limb. But as it relates to here and the situation here in Durham, North Carolina, I can honestly tell you, and I honestly feel this, defunding the police wasn't a good option for Durham. Not with everything it has going on. I know you're going to say there's crime everywhere, there's drugs everywhere, there's gangs everywhere. Yeah, I give you that, there is. But those cities, those big cities like New York, Chicago, places in California, yeah, I can see, that oftentimes we hear and see that the police are overly aggressive. So maybe there was a feeling of defunding them there, but not here in Durham. Little old Durham, the crime rate, the murder rate, the gangs, the drugs, the firearms, is something that we're not used to. So when city officials, because a lot of city officials went on that kick and they were saying, defund the police, allocate the money elsewhere. Instead of hiring police, we're going to allocate the funds to help with mental health and intervention, nonviolent intervention for many instances where the police aren't needed. I understand that, get it, got it, understand it wholeheartedly. Yeah, the police does not need to be called for every little thing, and hey, they just don't. But here in Durham, you guys took police away and took money away when dealing with these fools? Wasn't a good look. It just wasn't. It just wasn't. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Just is. Maybe I'm wrong. What do I know? What do I know? Just a thought. All right. Let's go get it. Man. Old President Biden, he gave a speech on Wednesday night in which he highlighted the nation's woes, the inflation, the possible recession, the cost of living, gas prices, food prices, the abortion debate, just like I spoke of in the previous about the high crime rate in this country. He spoke about all of that. But he horned in on an instance that has many, even in his own Democratic Party, and even me, I'm questioning too. I'm looking like, wait a minute, why would you? What is that? He was more horned in on and focused on what he says is democracy is under attack. Of course, this comes on the heels of that incident with Nancy Pelosi's husband, where he was attacked in their home with a hammer. And by the way, that fool, that nut. He's due in court this morning. Quite possibly, he may be here illegally. He is from Canada, so they're having an immigration hearing of sorts this morning to determine whether they're going to deport him or maybe he's here on a work visa. So they're trying to find out his status. So President Biden, Wednesday night, he gets up and he says, "Hey, democracy is under attack. People are attacking innocent people because they have a difference in belief." Yeah, that is a problem. For that nut to break into their home and attack the speaker's husband with a hammer and just repeatedly hit him, that's a problem. Now, I'm not on either side when it comes to issues like this of just straight up violence because you're upset because someone disagrees with you. Uh, you're a whole savage in my mind. Just because someone agrees with you doesn't give you the right to just attack them physically. Yeah, you can attack them verbally. You know, you can state either yay or nay or whatever the case may be. But for you to go into someone's home and beat them up with a hammer, yeah, that's a bit too much for me. So I can understand that. But I'm not going to give you, Mr. President, that democracy is under attack. You have more pressing issues than democracy being under attack. And I'm not making light of the situation that happened with the speaker's husband being attacked. I'm just not. Your approval rating, your approval rating is horrible. And after you gave that speech Wednesday night, a lot of those people within your own Democratic Party are now asking and questioning flat out, where's your head at? What are you thinking? That's not what the American people are most worried and concerned about. They're not. They're worried about this inflation and this, what many economists are saying, there is going to be a recession, whether it be at the end of the year or at the beginning of the year, whether it be short and hard or whether it be long and hard. There is going to be a recession. Folks are worried about the cost of living. Gas prices are up. Food is up. Just rent is up. Mortgage rates are going up. Just any and everything you can think of that you're doing day to day is skyrocketing. And so that's where many Americans are at right now. Certainly understandable about the feeling that democracy is being attacked. Yep, get it, got it, understand it wholeheartedly. But folks are struggling. And they're trying to figure out what in the world is going on. And you go on a rant and give a speech where you should be calming, reassuring the American people that you have this under control and you're going to get a grasp and you're going to handle it, because we still haven't heard anything about your plans or your administration plans to deal with this looming recession and this inflation that is here now. Maybe perhaps you're saying that, hey, just give it time. That plan, that bill that I passed, that Build Back America bill is going to work. Seems like a lot of overspending, because now we're seeing it. So I don't know. Maybe that's where your head is at. But those within your own Democratic Party are questioning, because like I said, your approval rating, your approval rating is at 38 to 40%. And back in March of last year, your approval rating was 54, and then again in April, it stood at 59. You've fallen off. And many in the Democratic Party are saying also, you're out of touch. Yeah, you are out. You are out of touch. After listening to that speech, and you go into that rant and rave about there being an attack on democracy, and you just over the inflation, the recession, the high cost of living. That's pretty much what you did. That's what I saw. That's what I gathered. I don't know about the rest of you. Maybe you're thinking, you're saying, he's on it. I don't see how you're on it. I just don't. You're all over you're not even all over the place. You're in one place. You're out of touch. 38% approval rating going into the midterms, 40 on your best day, and you have a looming inflation and recession, and you can only muster up a good 40%. It's not looking too good for you. And it's also not looking too good for many of those running in these midterms for the House, Senate, gubernatorial races. A lot of these races in these different states, they're neck and neck. They're only separated by a few percentage points. And we're talking about 2 or 3. Some are 4 or 5, and that's at the most. So now is not the time to be talking about democracy being under attack. And that has led to many Democrats that are running, distancing themselves from the president. They have distanced themselves. They're straying away. Why? Those approval ratings, 38 and 40%. What in the world is going on with you? You're out of touch. And this is very reminiscent of another president. We remember old President Trump, who was going through the same thing when his approval ratings were dropping and dropped. And many were saying, well, what's going on? Why isn't he listening to his advisors? This guy is out of touch. Looks like the chickens have come home to roost. You're out of touch. You are. You are out of touch. You just are. Like I said, I'm not downplaying what happened with the Speaker of the House husband. That was horrible. That just was. That made no sense whatsoever for that nut job to go in there and do that. And then say, like I said earlier, they asked him why he was there. He said, hey, he made no bones about it. I wanted to speak to the Speaker of the House. I wanted her to admit that the Democrats and herself were lying. Lying about the 2020 presidential election. Whatever's on your mind is on your mind. But for you to go into someone's home and attack them, nah, that's a bit too much. I can't give you that. You can yell, scream, and holler and stand on your soapbox all day long. But for you to go in there and attack that man, that elderly man like that was a bit too much. That was a bit too much. Mr. President, unless something drastically changes within these next 2 years, because as we know, you're up for re-election in 2024. If you don't get it together, if you don't make some changes, if you don't show some proof, I think a lot of the American people, well, I know, we all know, and like I always say, those midterms next week, they're going to tell the tale. I don't think you're going to be there a second term. I just don't. Because you're out of touch. You just are. You're out of touch. You are. You have to admit. And I understand that the Speaker of the House, you and her, you've been in politics for how long, so it was personal to you. I get it, got it, understand it, but at some point in time, you got to put that personal feelings aside and realize and look at realistically what's going on in your country that you're in charge of. Yeah, you guys said the same thing about Donald Trump. Said he was out of touch, but his approval rating started dropping, and he started getting up ranting and raving about random things. And you said that was irrelevant. That's not what's going on with the American people. Well, now you've elected, or now there is a Democratic president that's in office that seems to be out of touch also. He just does. He's out of touch. No one can convince me otherwise. You just can't. The guy's out of touch. He just is. He just is. He's out. He's out of there. He's out there. He's out there. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I got to go to work. Not the end of the work week for me. I will be working this weekend. I just will. It is what it is. Beautiful weather. Beautiful weather is coming here in North Carolina. 80 degrees. Might be the end of the 80 degrees. Who knows? We all know how it is. If you're from the South, we all know we do have those warm, moderate fall days, and then all of a sudden the bottom falls out. Also, we're falling back this weekend. Clock is going back. We're getting an extra hour of sleep. I need that. I'll take that. Thank you very kindly. I just will. A lot going on in this country, in this world also. Just a lot. The threat of nuclear war. You have two dictators that are literally trying their best to start something. They just are. And then you have a president that seems to be out of touch with the American people, because they're looking at him. They're not only looking at him side-eye, they're looking at him straight ahead saying, what in the foolishness are you talking about right now? And we're struggling out here in these streets. They just are. They just are. Man, like I said, there's a lot going on in this world. Just is. I'm going to get on out of here. Like I said, I got to go to work. I want to thank everyone for listening, watching, supporting. Hit that like and subscribe button so you get notified when I do these podcasts, these videos. Certainly, I enjoy doing them. Like I said, I started out on Anchor, and of course, that's audio. They do have a video feature now. I'll be doing that also. Something different. Someone once asked me, why did you decide to do podcasts? Honestly, truthfully, it's my midlife crisis. There was a lot of things I could have did, I couldn't afford. But at 49, I said to myself, hey, try podcasting. At that point in time, at that station in my life, I said to myself, hey, it can't hurt. Can't get any worse than it is. And it hasn't. And I enjoy doing it. I hope you guys enjoy what I'm doing. Let me know in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button like I said. Thank you for listening. This is Stephen Carnegie for This Is Just a Thought. Amen.